bass up. Drum and bass up.
To get some water and then see, oh, the weather is so great, and that's the only impression I get, because like there are things waiting all the time.
I know. I'm like just constantly bouncing between Telegram channels like all day until 4 a.m. every day.
Well, it is a very busy environment after all, and there is a lot of needs for people with different skills and services, and we are here to provide after all, right?
Yes, we are. Well, on that note, let's get started.
All right.
Okay, so let's start with getting to know you. What's your background? How did you even end up on DeFi?
Okay, so probably I will not give the most satisfying answer to this question, but then like I think like the best value I have is being able to honest with people. So I will just be honest. Like I'm quite new in DeFi. I'm not a developer myself. I have a basic understanding of how codes work, but then I'm not coding myself. So like my first impression for DeFi was around how many, like 5 months ago, around January, I think. So I'm like almost new in this field. But the moment I entered this field, I was amazed. I just didn't know that there was so much potential, and it's such a new field and there is so much to do. And then I immediately started learning how it works. Actually, this is around the time I got to know you, because I was some like in some farms. I had no idea if I could have been rugged, and then you simply popped up in the chat and started asking questions, and then I thought like, this person knows a lot of things, so like I should follow him. I thought at that time, of course, like most people. So like I have been learning a lot in a very ambitious way, and then when I had a full grasp of how things worked here, and then I thought like, okay, why shouldn't I do this myself? So back to your question a little bit, I don't have a developer background. I am doing a PhD, but it is in social sciences. I'm teaching in a university. So in life, I can say that I'm accomplished, but I'm quite new in DeFi.
That sounds actually just like me. I mean, the funny thing about DeFi is it has so much potential and it's so new. I think you might have actually started on DeFi before I did, because I didn't show up until February.
Really?
Really. And I mean, I do have some coding background, so I just decided to start looking at codes because I could. But yeah, it's kind of funny. It's kind of an equal playing field because it's so new. Everyone has a chance. Even those of us with weird PhDs, we can just do things and actually make money instead of being a professor.
It is actually very funny. Like the first time I saw you, I thought like, oh, like this person knows so much. I know nothing. But actually we were like here around the same time.
Yep, I was, I just have confidence.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So, okay, let's move on to the next question. Okay.
Yeah, next question. All right, so Pulsar. Let's talk a little bit more about that. How did this project form? What was your inspiration? What made you, how did Pulsar happen?
Well, it is a hard question to answer because my inspiration was the lack of inspiration. Like I just checked the zone, and it was around the time like Goose started. So, and then like all other farms were popping up here and there, like Viking and some others. I cannot remember their names now. And I was looking at them like they're exactly the same copies of each other. And I was like going and talking to their admins, like, what are you doing here? Like, what do you offer? They say like, you put your money, you get interest. Okay, what to do with it? There is nothing, like, you see, no product at all, no innovation. So I thought like, why don't they do something new? I mean, there is so much potential in this field, and it is just like new grounds, like a new zone to explore, but nobody is doing nothing. So I thought like maybe I should do something. And then I started thinking about ideas and thinking about people to work with. I started contacting my friends and students. Some responded, some didn't respond, and they were also clueless about blockchain and DeFi. So I was learning myself. I was trying to teach them at the same time. So it was a very hard process and a very slow process at the very beginning. But then when we had a basic understanding of how it worked, like we were like exploding with ideas, because there is so much to do and nothing is done yet. And one of the common points of me and the people I work with is that we are all in love with gaming. Like I have a very long gaming background, so we all wanted to make a game because well, it is a product. That's the first thing. And then it is a product you can offer without like doing real stuff in real life. Like it is not like you have to go and make deals with real estate companies. So you can just create it yourself and then offer it. So it is also a product which is easy to deliver if you know how to do it. So this is how we came up with the idea. We wanted to make a yield farm because it has potential, and then we wanted to integrate gaming into it because it hasn't been done much yet on the field.
That's really true. Yeah, and I mean, your farm definitely stands out in the game features. It's something that you didn't have quite as much with alpha, but beta is really a gamified platform, and it's really been cool to see that evolution with you. And speaking of evolution, so you went from a rugdoc admin, just hanging out in my chat and doing our behind the scenes stuff and just being a typical degen, to running a really popular and successful farm gaming platform now with all sorts of things and features. What was the process in developing a farm like, coming from just being a typical degen, especially one like you said who has no real coding background, who has a social sciences PhD? How did you go from there to, what was the farm development process like? A lot of people ask that.
Well, the first thought I had, it is like I'm checking all these yield farms. They're exactly the same copies of each other. I thought, I could do that. Like it is just copying and pasting, right? We just change the names and so I just tried to do it myself, and then I came to the realization that even creating a simple clone is not that simple. And then I started to look for people who can actually do it. So actually this was the hardest stage, because you need some people who can deliver things, who are determined to do things. Like you will be facing challenges along the way, and you shouldn't give up easily, because like there are so many small things which are extremely simple to solve, but if you don't know where to look, it is like taking years. So that was the hardest part, because when we started, my developers as well, we didn't have any idea how to do this. It was a learning process. So when we had the basics, we understood the basics of how to make things work, it became a lot easier. But the first stage is extremely painful, especially the part that like you decide to do something and you need people to work with, and these people should be people that you can trust and you can work together. So that stage was quite painful, and the first phase of understanding how it all worked. But then it becomes a free zone of exploration that you can do countless things, and it is up to your imagination. So we are in the fun part.
Yeah, no, I'll bet it feels really good to finally be in the fun part. I know even with my own experiences, getting everything just started takes so long, because like you said, you have to learn everything, and even things that seem simple, usually not that simple. Because you're right, it's even a clone farm, it's not just copy pasting. You have other things you have to integrate, you have to work on like the UI side of things. And then I can imagine, you going from a farm to a farm with games, stepping up games through a smart contract is a whole new level of learning and work. So it must feel really good to be on the other side now.
Yeah. So like in alpha, we didn't release a game on purpose. I mean, we could have developed it on alpha as well, but so like our model is a little bit different. We are trying to handle things step by step, so that like if we do too many things, we are under the risk of making a critical mistake. So we want to build something big, but we are just trying all the pieces out in each layer. So it will reduce our risk of making something wrong and having a catastrophic end.
Yep, I also am very familiar with that. Just have to start small and make sure you can get something done and get it done right, and then you can add a next layer to it. So, I mean, you know what's going on at Rugdoc behind the scenes. We're just kind of slowly adding features and adding things and expanding, but you have to do it one at a time so no mistakes are made. So it's kind of funny. There's a lot of similarities in just starting any project in DeFi. Maybe just starting any project in general.
Yeah, but this is how the things should work. I mean, if you try to do it all at once, there are so many things which could go wrong. And when you do it this way, there are also like people who start the way with you. They started walking on the same path, and like you build a loyal community, because the Rugdoctor team didn't form, the Rugdoctor chat didn't form just in a day. It came a long way. Like it was just in the chat, people asking questions, you were answering, and then it turned into some list, and then like now you have a web page for it, and it is growing and developing, and this is the way it should be.
Yep, and I mean, I really appreciate that in like your farming project, that you've taken the time to at least make sure when you're dealing with people's money, you're doing things correctly and taking the time to go through it, because we see it all the time. There's farms that don't take the time, and you're playing with millions of dollars and you lose people's money, and it's terrible. So.
Yeah, there is always that risk. I cannot deny that. Like, we will not make any mistakes, but then the new things we are developing, trying to develop in a way that they have no relation to people's funds. So even if something goes wrong with the game, the money in the pools, like non-native pools, will be completely safe, because we have no connection to them. So the standard contracts are battle tested, like they are battle hardened, they are tested in so many different ways. I think they should be safe by now, because they are being used by everyone. Like if they are unsafe, then Pancake is also unsafe, and Uniswap is also unsafe. So they should be safe. I mean, we are not making very critical changes to them. But the gaming part, it is possible that there could be some bugs, but then even if there are some bugs, they are not related to any funds.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. So now that we've been talking about your games and all of that, what do you have in the pipeline for development coming up? I'm sure you have more things planned. What are you planning?
I'm happy to announce that we have updated our web page, like, I don't know, 30 minutes ago. Now you can see our new PvP game. So it is.
Let me go see it.
It is not exactly functional, because we haven't integrated the user interface to our contract, because we want to market it first. We want to get the attention of people. So we will be offering some like first day rewards. We will be airdropping pets. So we want to have the traffic and then let the game launch. So it will be more fun for everyone.
Cool.
And it will also help us create more deflation. So I'm not rushing it. I just put it over there so that people go and see what's going on. I think we will be launching the game tomorrow.
Very cool.
People will be able to have pets and then go into rooms to fight each other. And
that's so cool.
Yeah, so your pets can level up. It is for cosmetic purposes only in this game, but they will keep looking better and better. And then when you win matches, you will earn a reward. And we will also have a leaderboard. The people with the highest scores will be earning a share of a pool, which is being deposited, which takes its funds from all the games. So like every time you play a game, you actually send a small portion of your money to a pool, and then this pool is like a jackpot for the top players.
Yeah, wow. That's pretty interesting. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
And
a lot of
this
this honestly
game,
reminds me kind of like Rune Farm, like as you keep going, because that's the only other platform I can think that is so heavily gamified. So that's pretty interesting. Were you inspired by Rune in any way in doing this?
Actually, I saw them only once, and it was after we started. I mean, I didn't realize that they were doing something similar. So no, I wasn't inspired by them. But if I wasn't doing this project myself, probably I would be spending a lot of time there, because I loved Diablo in my childhood. It was one of my favorite games, and they have the same team. So no, I don't even know how they even work, because I really didn't have time to go and discover and explore. But like the things we are doing are completely our original ideas. We are not like stealing them from anyone else.
No, not even close. And actually, I mean, I was on Rune Farm for a while, partly because I liked the gaming feature aspect to it, because I also liked Diablo as a kid. But it's a very complicated farm to actually get to work and fully understand. And I think that was a big turnoff for a lot of people, whereas your games are a little bit easier to look at, understand your farm. So definitely very different.
So currently we have like 2 games. So when you enter Beta Pulsar, you have the ability to farm Beeple, Beta Pulsar token, and then with Beeple you can play Bounty Hunter, which is a PvE game with RNG. And then from this game you earn bounties, and then with bounties you can buy a pet in this planet called Pulsaria, and with your pets you can fight and earn rewards. So we have like this link system that you farm, you play PvE, and with your PvE returns you can play PvP, and in this whole process we get to burn tokens and create deflation.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I mean, I'm excited to go get a pet now, knowing me. So next question. What was the biggest challenge you faced in making this farm?
I think it was the bugs. I mean, like we kept having bugs in interface and in code. Things didn't work properly. And like it is not hard to solve bugs, but when there is time pressure on you, it becomes quite hard. So perhaps I should correct my answer that it is the time pressure. Because if you have enough time, you can just make a perfect product. Actually, wait, can I share something on the Telegram chat, I wonder, while I'm talking here?
Possibly. We can probably make that happen here.
Yeah, I just sent something. It is just 2 megabytes. I hope it will not be too hard to watch. Okay, it looks like a GIF now. So you see, like we prepared this cool arena with animations for our new game, but we didn't expect that our price would start dumping after 24 hours, because Pulsar Alpha lasted for almost 3 days before the dump started. But and this one is a better farm because it has new features and we are developing it. So I thought like, okay, we have at least like 4 days, and in 4 days, when the start starts falling, we will already have the game ready. We will make it with animations. It will be extra cool. People will be excited. But then the dump started in 24 hours. Perhaps it is because there wasn't enough free money floating in the zone because of the whole market crashing down. Like during alpha, Bitcoin was around like $60, so it was a lot of money. But then, like, because of the macro elements, things have changed, it seems. So when the dump started, we started to rush things. So like all these cool features we developed are like still these pieces around here and there, but we couldn't fully integrate them. So like we will integrate these kind of features, but because of the time pressure, it will be simpler in the first place. So yeah, the biggest challenge I think is time pressure, because you have to offer something to people, you have to give them something, because a lot of people are very impatient, a lot of people are unhappy that their investments are losing value, and as you keep them waiting, things are dying out.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's true what you said. It's a very different market right now, and people are kind of hesitant. So I think we've been seeing that in a lot of farms that I normally would have thought were sure shot winners are not necessarily right now, just because people are skeptical about what's happening in the bigger picture of the crypto market. But,
yeah, and for good reason. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. But I mean,
how many farms have we seen like with all these NFT and lotteries and other stuff, and they're never delivering them? Like it is like 99% of the field is promising a lot of things and never delivering. So people are right not to trust us. I mean, they shouldn't trust us until they see something, because that trust should be earned. I mean, you cannot just ask them to trust you, believe in you. You have to show them your worth.
Yeah, and I mean, it's really great that you say that. This is why you are an admin in RugDoc chat, that you have that healthy attitude. Don't trust me. Let me show you that you can trust me. So yeah, that's really good to hear. All right, next question. I know you have pets in your NFT feature and your game, which is really cool. Why are there not any cats involved in your chat or your project? Do you own any pets? And if you do, why are they not Pulsar famous yet? I've seen no pets in your channel.
Well, I have a cat. I didn't want to dox her. No, I mean, it's a good question. Maybe we should consider this. We created our code in a way that we can add new pets. So we've mainly focused on alien type of pets, because like this Pulsar and Pulsaria and this our bounty hunter is living in another solar system. So we wanted to focus on these like fantastic creatures, alien pets. So the cats didn't come into my head in the first place, but it is a good suggestion. So perhaps like we will be designing an alien pet for the 5th pet.
Okay. All right. So, what is your favorite part about your community?
Well, I have some people who believe in the project, who like the idea of gaming, and they are extremely supportive in the chat. I mean, most people they're supportive even though like they lose money in the process. I try to like make them earn money as much as I can, but it is not always possible, because without some products you have to offer high APR, and when you offer high APR there is inflation, and you know what happens when there is inflation. So yes. Like we are trying to change this fact. It is a cruel destiny shared by many firms, and we do not pretend to be immortal at this stage. We know that it can happen to us. This is why we created layer system and utility NFTs. But what I was afraid when our farm started dying because of inflation, people would be extremely angry and irritated and like cursing us and stuff like this. But then it wasn't the exact reaction. So a lot of people believe in that we are trying to develop something bigger here, not just taking their money for quick profits and leaving. So I think that is the part that I like most about our community.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's always nice when you have like those people in your community who are just like awesome, supportive, helpful people. It makes you, it makes everything worth it.
Yeah, exactly. When I see like their thankful messages, it just drives me to work harder. Like I find motivation. I can sleep less and eat less and keep going. It is like spiritual power.
Sounds healthy. All right, next question. Your gaming features are obviously really interesting, and we've been talking a lot about them. So we know about your aliens and your pets. Can you tell us a little bit more about your NFT characters and future NFT characters? We know that the first one is Paul Pierce. Are we to expect more human bounty hunters or maybe some alien-looking bounty hunters? What's going on with your bounty hunters?
The bounty hunter is designed in a way that you can only have one NFT character. So I don't think we will be able to add another. So this is one of the biggest challenges when you develop a game, because you cannot change the contract after you deploy it. I mean, you cannot change the basic functions. You can change some numbers like reward rates and costs, some percentages if you have written it in a way. But you cannot change the fundamentals. So after you deploy the contract, the game is quite limited in nature. You just limit it when you deploy it. For that reason, we will be unable to add new bounty hunters because the moment you have a second character, things will not work. So this is actually why we prevented like being able to have two characters. Or if you have a character, you cannot send your character to another person. We coded them in a way that they can be transferred, and when you transfer them, it works in another person's wallet. Like all the information is transferred. But the moment you try to transfer the second one, it will not work. So we prevented that. I mean, we will not be able to put another bounty hunter character. But like our future plans certainly include having multiple characters, just not with the bounty hunter game.
Okay. Well, it'll be interesting. I'm interested to see where this all goes. And you're right, I didn't even think of that. Once you have a smart contract, you can't change it. So, all right.
Yeah.
Where do you see this project going in the future? What are your plans for it overall?
So now, after we launch our PvP game, we will also try to turn beta into deflationary. I will be decreasing the APR. I'm not decreasing the APR, sorry, decreasing the block reward rate day by day. And at the same time, I will be increasing the multipliers of native tokens in order to give them a better value, like they will be less affected from the decrease. And then I will see, when we have the inflation under control, whether we can like improve the price action, like whether the price will increase. Because I'm aware that like people are expecting to see beta Pulsar price increase again, because we started the initial liquidity was around $1, but we know that it is because of low liquidity and it just jumps to 30 in seconds. So before the farming started, we were around 30. After the farming, in the first 24 hours, I think we went up to like 70 or something like that, and then now it is $1. So a lot of people are waiting for the price to get better, and that's what I'm trying to do. But of course, I cannot change the price myself. It should be people. Like if people appreciate the game, if people engage with our farm, then we will see a better price, and then we can keep building beta. But if it doesn't happen, then we have this plan B, which we also had in alpha, to activate utility NFTs to start another layer where we can polish things further and develop new features to offer a better farm. So what happens if we move on to Gamma? We will be doing things which we mentioned in our roadmap, and the main points in our roadmap was the gaming features like PvE and PvP features. So we have already accomplished them in beta, and now we are looking into things like secondary marketplace, because if we want to create a game which people will play and have characters and pets and perhaps items in the future, they should be able to trade them. Because if they cannot trade them, it doesn't really mean much. It is just some NFT in your wallet. You can see it on the web page, but then you cannot do anything else with it. And when the farm dies, it is just useless. So what we want to do is to create a secondary marketplace and offer extra features. Like you will have multiple characters, you will have equipable items, and you will be able to like upgrade them, make them better. Your characters will have stats perhaps, and there will be different types of characters like a warrior, a mage, a rogue, etc. So and they will have real value in life, because if we create a secondary marketplace, then you will be able to liquidate them on the secondary marketplace. So that is one of our future goals, and probably we will be starting to work on that and having more sophisticated games like equipable items and the type of characters I mentioned. So this is where we are going, but our ultimate aim is to create an MMORPG in a sandbox world. So it will have its own dynamics in terms of economy. For example, you will have NFT lands. Your NFT lands will be able to produce you wheat. If you have an NFT land around the mountains, maybe you will be able to mine silver and gold, and then maybe some iron, and then you can turn your iron into weapons, and then give your weapons to your peasants, turn them into soldiers, fight for lands, and things like that. So this is our biggest plan, and what we are doing in our layers is to create pieces of it, because everything we do now are the things that we will need in the future.
That's so cool. So, I mean, it's always been a little bit of a benchmark for me, or like a goal that I want to see the DeFi community meet, is to manage to hook into people from outside of DeFi, right? To kind of bridge that gap between people who are just degen farmers and people who are just interested in something that ties into DeFi. And the way I've always seen that happening is through a gaming feature that connects both sides of the world, and that really hasn't been done well yet. So, you know, I hope you do, because it'll be really cool to see that bridge. And that would be awesome if there was some sort of a RPG game like you're talking about that people could just like play for enjoyment and actually has financial benefit, because that would just be really interesting.
Yeah. Also, like I played a lot of games such as like Ultima Online, Night Online, World of Warcraft. All these games gave me great pleasure in terms that like I had another character in these games, and like you have another identity over there, and if you have a good character, it is quite prestigious. You enjoy the prestige and status you get in the game. But then like developers can create a copy of you with just one click. Nothing is guaranteed. People can cheat, items can be duplicated, so blockchain can prevent that. Blockchain can prevent that in a way. Even the developers, even if they wanted to make such changes, it can be prevented, because we cannot, if we design the contract in a good way, we will not be able to change it ourselves. So people will be sure about the worth of their items and characters they created, they invested their time, and they will be able to sell it if they wish to. So, you know, like this is the type of platform that I'm dreaming about.
Yeah, that's really cool. And, you know, going back to blockchain really gives you an equal playing field. So that'll be really interesting to see how it plays out. I'll be along for the ride, like anyway. Yeah. Last question. Okay.
All right.
I mean, I feel like I kind of have to ask this one because it's me. What sort of a toilet do you use? And what is the best, or I guess the worst, toilet you've ever used? Memorable toilets. What are you working with, and what are some memorable toilets here?
Well, the worst toilet I used, I have no idea. The best one is the one at my house, I think, because, you know, like you have an emotional connection with your own toilet.
Sure.
It is quite loyal to you. However many times you dump on it, It never
It's
gets
true.
irritated. So I'm not sure about the worst toilet. Probably some public toilet. I went in a bar once. I don't want to talk too many details about it because like it is not something you would like to hear about. But I'm very curious about the Japanese toilets which washes your ass. So
Yep, those are great.
it is also a future goal in my life to try one
Look,
of them.
when you make lots of money farming and through Pulsar, you should buy one. Just give yourself that upgrade. It'll be a treat.
I will just add it to my list now.
Don't buy a Lambo, buy a toilet. A nice one.
Sure. It is more useful.
Okay, well, I think that wraps up all the questions I had. Thank you so much for talking to all of us here today. It was a pleasure. And yeah, everybody should go check out Pulsar and keep an eye on all of the features that are coming out. And it's beta.pulsar.farm. Hang around for a little while in the chat if you do, in case people have questions. And
sure, we could receive questions if people have them.
Great. So I will end this call and I will open the chat back up. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting me here. I had this opportunity to explain what's going on with our farm, and it was a great opportunity. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. See you in a bit.
Bye-bye.